All right, everyone. Welcome to this weekly Sidereal astrology forecast for April 24th through the 30th of 2017. All right, so this week we have a new moon taking place in Aries, as you can see here in this chart. It's going to be on Wednesday. And this is very much a time of new beginnings. One, because, of course, new moons are about new beginnings, but also Aries is considered the beginning of the Zodiac. So it can be an active new beginning now, especially compared to what has been a very watery time these past couple months with all of that Pisces energy that we've had. Now, we still do have Pisces energy. We've got Mercury still retrograde through Pisces, and we do have Venus here, as well as some of the slow-moving planets. So there is still a lot of intuition, and especially with Mercury here, like our minds, listening to that intuition, listening to our dreams can be very important, and just having a more accepting approach to the routine and anything else we might be thinking about. So as long as we're having that perspective, I think we will definitely start to notice this new vigor, this new clarity, in fact, unfolding as we begin this lunar cycle. So of course it does take time. The new moon is actually a lowered energy time. It's not until later, especially once we get closer to that full moon, that we start to feel a lot of the higher energy with it. So although it is about active things, this is a new beginning essentially with our self-awareness, a new beginning for our independence, becoming more clear about what we want and what we need in life, and initiating things, going after and taking the actions and the steps towards the things that we do want. So it can bring in these qualities of Aries, and that's what this whole cycle is about now, is bringing in the qualities of activeness, directness, vigorousness, and even expressiveness, expressing who we are in that independent nature. So, but yeah, it does take time, so give it time here, but especially as we go through the week, it'll be increasing, and especially by next week and onward. And once Mercury, goes direct and leaves Pisces here in about a couple weeks, more so as time does go on. So with this new moon on Wednesday, leading up to it, Monday and Tuesday, a good time to, get in touch with the tranquil side to life, as it is the ending of the lunar cycle. Good for meditation, relaxation, rest, anything that helps us clear essentially the past lunar cycle energies. And that could be literally or, just generally, like it could be literally clearing things in our life, or it could be just these feelings and these patterns and, these emotions and things, or whatever's flowing through us at the moment to create this space. So Monday and Tuesday, along with that balsamic phase, we do have Mercury trending up to Saturn. So it is going to be a grounded couple days, I feel like, even though Mercury's retrograde, and it is still good to be very flexible and adaptive. If there's anything you can rework here today, Monday, Tuesday, edit, plan, get into that practical mind of yours to, really write things down or come up with drafts and things that, although might be, editable, in other words, they might change. This is great for like brainstorming and creating outlines and plans and things like that, that can be modified, as time goes on. So, very good practical mind, very good for constructive things. Even the routine can flow quite easily collectively these couple days where we're just a bit grounded here, constructive, productive, and again, practical with our mind and our communications. In fact, communications can flow, again, with the consideration of crossing those T's, dotting those I's, bringing extra attention to the communication and correspondence with that Mercury retrograde. All right, so yeah, Wednesday is the new moon. That new moon is not forming any major aspects other than a trine up to the North Node. So I think it's a very subtle new moon. I think it's going to be very much supporting our life path, which has been for the whole year, and as it was last year, to express ourselves. That's been the North Node transiting Leo, but that'll be more of an undercurrent. I feel like, most importantly, we're increasing this self-awareness, this independence, but it could be very much supporting our self-expression and our life path. All right, so as we go through the rest of the week, energies will slowly be increasing in terms of both awareness, momentum, and those Aries qualities. here around Friday, as Mercury starts to slow down, Mercury's going to go direct next week. We do have Mercury going over Uranus. And because Mercury's slowing down, as you can see here, it's really dragging out this conjunction. So the days surrounding Friday, it is very good for being open and as flexible as possible. Because Mercury's retrograde, but because Uranus can often bring unexpected things. Okay, so, you know, it kind of just comes out of nowhere. And it might just be ideas for some of us. It might be more internal. In fact, generally, it is a very good time for new, innovative ideas, thinking outside the box, again, trying new things. But, yeah, in our external environment, too, there might be some unexpected stuff. So it is good to be open and I think wanting a bit of excitement. You know, this is a neutral aspect. You know, it'll be inherently neutral. But the more open we are to mixing up the routine, trying new things, being open to new and exciting and unexpected things within the routine, within the daily life, I think it's a fantastic way of working with this. And as I said, it can be quite exciting in the process if we're open to that. So, yeah, just to reiterate, though, the retrograde, with whatever is shaping up, whatever is being mixed up, and there is this newness about it, I think just being open to modifying, having a plan A, B, C, you know, being as flexible as possible in the process is very important with this, generally and collectively. All right, so then as we get into the weekend, we do have Saturn squaring up to Chiron. This aspect's been going on since December, late December of last year. So this is, you know, very much about healing. Now, Chiron's not a very personal planet, but there is this undercurrent since late last year of healing. And, you know, with Saturn, it's been specifically that, you know, with the structures that we're building in our life, because, you know, we're always building structures. We're always building things that are, you know, long lasting and, you know, rooted in foundations, you know, whatever it is you're building this year. It does require, I think, healing. I think we must heal in order to build these future things or these structures that we're implementing in our life, these foundations. So with the square, though, of course, it can be challenging to do that. You know, any square to Chiron is often wounds and things that aren't comfortable for us to heal. So, you know, and you'll know it because it's directly related with whatever it is you're building or these future things. So being patient with it, you know, Saturn is all about patience. This is, as I said, been going on since late December. It's actually going to be going on all the way until September of this year. Late September. So what ends up happening between this middle aspect, the second aspect, is things begin to make a bit more sense. It's almost like we know what we need to do here to do the healing in order to build these future things. And so challenging yourself this weekend and going into next week, and even all week long, mind you, because it is within a 1-degree orb, but particularly this weekend going into next week, really good for taking any steps or actions. Again, that's what this whole Aries quality is about anyways. That's what the squares are about. You know, it's that cardinal energy. It's taking actions, taking steps. But here over the weekend, in a way of seeing what steps you can take that you may feel wounded about, or that you feel but you know it's important to take those steps for your healing, for your rejuvenation, to build again these things that you might be set on building this year in your life. Again, we'll check which areas of life this is for you personally after this, but you know, generally for everyone, I think the more open we are to healing, to challenging ourselves to heal, and to be as patient as possible in the process, the better. And I think between now and September is an excellent time of actually taking these actions and these steps, and through that feeling healed and rejuvenated in the process. Okay, so that's the week in a nutshell. Just to sum it up, balsamic phase, ending phase Monday, Tuesday, but with a grounded, practical mind, communication, and routine. Okay, still good to be reworking, rethinking, redoing with that Mercury retrograde. New moon in Aries on Wednesday, suggesting a time of new qualities about activeness, vigorousness, and all of that directly supporting our life path, which is the undercurrent to the year of helping us really connect to the things we enjoy in life and to express ourselves. You know, things we're passionate about, the things that are close to our heart, and developing that, learning more about that, learning more about our self-expression, okay? But the new beginning will be starting some new seeds. We'll check to see which areas of life this is involved for you. But both in terms of the new moon being new beginnings, and Aries is all about initiation and taking initial steps, okay? Then as we go to the second half of the week, we have Mercury going over Uranus, a bit of unexpectedness, great for being open to new and different things in the routine. Can be exciting, can be different. We can learn a lot with the retrograde. Some new ideas can come into the mix. And over the weekend, especially, but all week long and going into next week, really good for challenging ourselves to do the things that we may feel like we need to do in order to heal. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this now for each of the individual signs. There is timestamps down in the comment section. I do recommend watching this for your sun, moon, and ascendant signs. Your ascendant is going to give you more of a life path perspective, like how things are unfolding in your life. Your sun's going to give you a perspective in terms of what you're consciously focused on, and more outward things like career and stuff like that. Then your moon's going to be more personal things at your inner world, all right? So things like family, spirituality, you know, what's going on internally this week can be seen by the moon. So I do recommend watching all three, but if you are just going to watch one, I do recommend the ascendant. And if you don't know your moon or ascendant sign, there is a birth chart calculator down below for that as well. I do want to say also that this is using the actual size and location of the constellations. All right, so if you're new to the channel, be sure to check the link down below in the comments as well about what is sidereal astrology, because we're using a different system here from the mainstream, and you'll want to make sure you're watching your horoscope for the right sign. All right, so let's go and look at this in more detail for the individual signs. Welcome, Aries, to your weekly forecast. So let's first look at this new moon in your sign. Happy birthday for those of you who have your sun sign birthdays this week. But for all of you, sun, moon, and ascendant, it is a time of certainly new beginnings for you. So the first house is the house of self. It's the house of self-awareness. Again, just like in the general, it is the house of independence, taking action and initiating the things that we do want in life, or we do need in life oftentimes, can be that personal there. So it's a new beginning with this. And around Wednesday, I think just being as receptive as you can, seeing what is coming in, what is changing in your life, because as I was saying, the new moon is a lowered energy time. And we do want to be as flexible in the process because we don't exactly know what the new beginnings are or what's unfolding. Now, while it's a great time to set intentions, by all means, write down your yearly goals at this point, because it is a new beginning in a yearly sense as well. Yes, write things down, write your intentions, but at the same time, be, aware of what is shaping up and be flexible to see what is shaping up in your life, because the early phases is a lot like where you want to plant a bunch of new seeds. You do want to set a lot of new intentions, but plant a bunch of new seeds, and then later in the coming days and coming weeks, you'll see which of these new things took root, which of these new little seedlings that you've planted are the strongest, and which ones you do want to keep. So yes, flexibility and adaptability is very important. But also, being receptive to what is this new beginning at the moment. All right, so along with that, you still do have a lot of 12th house energy, though. Mercury is retrograde in your 12th. Venus is here. This is the house of spirituality. It's the house of rest. It's the house of intuition. A very good time for you to be maybe keeping a dream journal or doing some automatic writing, meditating, things like this, to get in touch with that aspect of yourself, your inner guidance, your intuition, being flexible with all that stuff too, right? So like with your rest and stuff, just kind of playing it by ear with the routine. And you could be enjoying this. You can be enjoying a lot of this more tranquil energy with Venus in the 12th. Excuse me. Okay. So yeah, still this behind the scenes energy with what is still this new time shaping up for you at the moment. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this in terms of your ruler, because Mars is in your second house, and this is the house of finances. So I think a lot of you already have been very direct and intentful with pursuing the things that you do value in life. What are the things that you want, particularly in a material sense? And what can you do to cultivate those values of yours? So a lot of you are probably very driven financially at the moment, very motivated by it. And maybe a lot of you have a very good confidence in terms of what you can do, what you can accomplish, in fact, that you can attain these values. So I think it's great to do that, to implement that directness with your finances and anything else material related, but at the same time being receptive, because your ruler of your second house, Venus, is in your 12th. So this does signify that, maybe the whole financial area or material area of your life is supposed to be about you developing more acceptance with it, right? Letting go, detaching, understanding things come in divine timing, working behind the scenes maybe with it. Some of you could be working financially with more giving causes, humanitarian things, social work, things like that. It's possible. But yeah, most importantly, understanding that while it is an active time and great to set intentions with your finances, also good to be as accepting as possible and surrendering everything that is outside of your control with that area. Okay, so let's look at the work sector. We do have Mercury, the ruler of your routine, forming a lot of aspects this week. He's going to be in that trine up to Saturn Monday and Tuesday. So before the new moon, really good, I think, for productive things, your routine, time management, energy management, career type related stuff. You do, of course, have Jupiter already transiting your 6th house, has been there for quite some time, even though it's retrograde. So you do want to be, and with Mercury retrograde, in fact, it is a very important time to be flexible with your routine. Be adaptive, try new things, maybe redo the routine, re-examine it, maybe even your diet, your regimens, things like that, but your work as well. And with that flexible attitude, I think you can find that there's a lot you're learning about it. There's a lot that you're reestablishing and reworking at the moment with the routine. But a lot of that can certainly flow Monday and Tuesday. Then as we get into around that Friday, as I was saying, Mercury is going to conjoin Uranus, and this will be in your 12th house. Yes, maybe there's some things around Friday about trying something different and new so that you can have a bit of rest, a bit of acceptance, a bit of meditative time, or bring in that presence into your everyday routine. Or maybe there's something new and exciting you might learn about yourself spiritually or psychologically that could facilitate the process. Maybe there is some unexpected thing about the work or the routine, maybe a new opportunity, in fact, for some of you to, again, get that more tranquil energy. So because that Mercury is in your 12th house, this whole theme of this retrograde is suggesting that maybe your work does need a bit more of this receptive energy. And as a result, it can be very freeing, and I think you can perhaps see that here around Friday. All right, so that leaves us with the relationship side of things. Venus isn't an aspect, but she is in your 12th. So again, just like with finances, very good to be surrendering and accepting with the relationships at the moment. They're supposed to be a bit behind the scenes. It's supposed to be more about your spiritual connection, both for yourself, but also through your relationships. You know, when we fully accept others and the now moment in regarding relationships and even our perspective of relationships, we're accepting here. It's tremendously freeing. And Venus is actually very, she's in a very good placement. She's exalted in Pisces. She likes to be in the 12th house. So I think a lot of you are seeing like that compassion, that understanding, that tranquil, that easygoing energy coming through your relationships. And I think that can certainly continue this week as you, again, develop more of this acceptance or whatever it is here that is about surrendering this area of your life. And let's not forget, too, the North Node is in your 5th house. This is the house of self-expression. But in relationships, it's about, having a bit of fun, playfulness, learning more about that. As we learn more about what we're passionate about, and with this whole new moon, there's this new beginning about who you are. You know, as you're coming into this new beginning for you and what you want in life and a greater clarity of who you are, that is going to be directly proportionate to your relationships, right? Because as we change, our relationships change. So yes, by all means, this new beginning, it's about you, it's about your independence, and learning more about that self-expression and your personal needs can certainly benefit those relationships. All right, so Aries, have a great week. I hope this was helpful. If you do have any questions, feel free to comment down below. Wish you the very best, and I will see you all next week. Take care. Welcome, Taurus, to your weekly horoscope here. So let's go ahead and look at this first in terms of this new moon. The new moon is going to be in your 12th house of spirituality. Okay, so the sun has recently shifted into here last weekend, actually. And so it's been this recent shift of maybe focusing more on the deeper aspects of yourself, you know, your psyche, maybe past traumas, places, you know, and things that you can accept in your life, things about yourself you can accept. And it's also, you can have more peace and tranquility in your life, which is essentially what the 12th house is all about. So you do have this new beginning now with this whole spiritual take on life in terms of where you can have more peace, more tranquility, more acceptance. So here around Wednesday, seeing what's changing, seeing what's shaping up, and going with the flow with that. You know, it is also good to set intentions with new beginnings. So you may find that if you do want to, you know, have some goals, because it is Aries we are talking about, with some goals or some intentions you do want to set about where you can bring in more peace, more easygoingness, more tranquility, more soul connection in your life, it is a great time to set those intentions. And in the process, just being flexible to see, okay, what is coming in, what is changing, what is this new beginning about peace in my life. So that's going to be the middle part of the week, and this is all in the context of the fact that it's been a very aspiring time for you. You've had Venus in your 11th house for a very long time. It, you know, at least these past, 2 months, and so maybe even 3. And so there's been a lot of emphasis here on you, you know, looking at the future and cultivating the future. And some of you may be spending time with your friends, you know, and your network circles. Now, I think a lot of this you're rethinking at the moment. A lot of you are rethinking your aspirations. Some of you are rethinking your friendships and, you know, connections there. And that's exactly what you want to do with that retrograde Mercury. Just be as flexible and adaptive about these aspirations. But yes, it is certainly the time of that, about cultivating that, and now maybe bringing in a bit of peace into the mix as well. Now, with all of that, you do have Mars in your first house. So lately, you know, this has been the past couple weeks, a lot of you have been, I think, very direct, maybe even motivated and more driven about what you want in life, or just clear about what you want in life, right? So Mars in your first house can give you good confidence, good motivation, good directness, a sense of a clarity about who you are and what you want. And I think that's continuing to be emphasized this week as well. All right, but I think in terms of what's changing this week, it's this new moon, this new beginning about bringing in that peace. All right, so now looking at this from the financial side of things, this is seen by Mercury, who rules your second house. Yes, retrograde in your 11th. I think a lot of you are rethinking, redoing the financial stuff, or at least I think it's very good to do that, whether it's the budget or the investments, things like that. And again, it's all in relation to these future aspirations. In fact, a lot of you are probably very future aspiring in terms of the finances at the moment. Some of you even too may be working with network circles or friends or whatever, networking to cultivate your financial life. But the most important thing right now is to be flexible with the retrograde when it comes to finances, and adaptive, see what's changing, see what you're learning right now at the moment, and all the stuff you're learning and redoing involving this is going to be some great info for you moving forward. Now, Monday, Tuesday, Mercury will be trining up to Saturn, so you do have a bit of flow with this. Great for constructive things involving finances, Monday, Tuesday. And then on Fridays, maybe some unexpected things is possible with finances, but it's important, again, to be as flexible as you can with that. And, do be aware of maybe any impulses or erratic energy that you may feel like you want to spend or something like that without really thinking about it, because Mercury's retrograde over Uranus. Again, it just kind of creates a bit of, we might be rushing into things or might be reacting to things there. So I don't think it's a major thing, but I did just want to mention that to be as conscious as you can, I think, with any financial choices that you may or may not be making on Friday. All right, so that's that area. We can look at the work sector. There's a bit of flow with this coming into the week, as I was saying, collectively, Monday, Tuesday, because Saturn does rule your 10th house of career. You do have a bit of support with a Saturn trining Mercury. And Venus is in that 11th house. So as a larger theme, there has been this this sort of emphasis on the future when it comes to the work, right? A lot of you might be more future oriented with it. Again, some of you may be networking for your work. Whatever it might be, it's very aspiring, and I think it's another fantastic week to continue to do that. All right, now in terms of relationships, this is seen by Mars in your first house. I think relationships are certainly being emphasized, at least in terms of your perspective at the moment. And so it is a great time, I think, to be developing new ones and cultivating existing ones with Mars in the first house. You do have Saturn in your 7th, still will be there for quite some time, like another year almost. And so it's a good time to still be grounded with relationships. Think long-term, think patient, right? Think, responsible, disciplined there. And Saturn trining up to Mercury the first couple of days may give you some support there, maybe a bit of flow and easy communication in your relationships. But this larger picture, right? Saturn squaring up to Chiron as we go into the weekend. I think a lot of you are doing some major healing with your relationships at the moment. I think as you've been healing this, wounds relating to your future or wounds relating to your network circles or friends, that's directly contributing to your relationships. But it's challenging because it's the square. So go easy on it. Take it slow. Again, this is in orb all the way up until September. So now we have plenty of time to implement this. And I think a lot of it's just about patience with relationships as well as healing, with anything that is about community or groups or your future aspirations, which then directly contributes to much more solid and long-lasting relationships there. All right, so Taurus, have a fantastic week. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below, and I will see you all next week. Take care. Welcome, Geminis, to your weekly forecast. All right, so let's look at this new moon here in your 11th house. This is the house of aspirations, and it's also the house of your network circles. So a new beginning here, and I think it's a fantastic week to set some intentions with cultivating any new network circles, connecting with your friends, things like that. But I think most fundamentally with your aspirations. What do you see for the future? What do you want to cultivate in the future? It's essentially what the 11th house is about, your hopes and wishes, things like this. And so as you set those intentions, I think you'll see that there's new energy coming in as you're aware of it. And being as flexible as you can in the process, because that's what new moons are about, is planting a bunch of seeds to see which of those seeds are going to be growing over the coming weeks and months. Now, the flexibility is particularly important because your ruler, Mercury, is retrograde, is going to go direct next week. So, yeah, continuing to rethink some things, rework some things. I think a lot of this has to do with the career for a lot of you. And but anything else on a productive level and just in general, because it is your ruler. So rethinking, redoing is the name of the game. Mercury is going to be trining up to Saturn on Monday and Tuesday. So that could give you a bit of grounded energy, a bit of flow there, in fact. And then on Friday, maybe something new and different, mixing things up. Again, it could be relating to your career productive life with that 10th house emphasis at the moment. But yeah, the more open you are to change, trying new things around Friday, mixing up that routine can be, yeah, a nice dose of some new understanding about probably the importance of having more freedom in your life, maybe freedom with that career, which has been a theme, and trying new things. Yeah. Okay. So now looking in terms of the financial side of things, this is seen by the moon for you, which is going to be in a new moon phase. So this can be, as it often is in a monthly sense, a lower time with the finances, but also a time of new beginnings with them as well. So just like with all new moons, you know, in the financial sense, maybe setting some new intentions financially and seeing what new things are coming into your life financially at the moment, like financial ideas or new opportunities, new business opportunities or trade opportunities, or something like that. I think can certainly come in, and that can facilitate what you're already involved with. And as the weeks unfold, more and more of that financial area increasing for you. Okay. In terms of the work sector, this is seen by all of that 10th house. As I was saying, you got your ruler up here in the 10th house of career. Great time to be redoing some things there. I think towards the second half, seeing where you can have more freedom in that career. I think you can be forming relationships with, you know, through your work and career at the moment as well, and enjoying your career and work at the moment with Venus here. Now you do have Saturn, who's been transiting your 6th house of routine already the past couple years. So as it has been, it is an excellent time to be, you know, building your routine, being patient with it, whether it's your time, your energy, your diet even, which can directly contribute to your routine and your work. And yeah, your craft even, you know, developing your skills in your craft. So Saturn, again, trining Mercury the first couple days gives you some flow here about work at the beginning of the week. And as we approach Sunday, that Saturn squaring up to Chiron does suggest that there might be some healing taking place regarding if you do feel any wounds about your career or your work, something like that. You know, Chiron in the top of your chart is helping you heal any wounds you may have in terms of your feeling like you can or can't cultivate that productive life, or there's just wounds there. You know, it's very subjective, very internal. So as you do that healing, I think you're going to find this very constructive. It might be uncomfortable to do the healing because, again, it is a square. But as you approach this productive life and even this routine, and be patient with the routine and all that, building it one step at a time between now and September, but approaching it with a willingness to face those wounds and accept those wounds, I think you'll find this to be a very rejuvenating time for you and your work at the moment. And then Mars, being your 6th house ruler in the 12th, does suggest too that maybe your work is about really connecting to it on a soul level, all right, doing things that, you know, on a daily level that you really enjoy. And in the present moment is really where the joy is anyway. So connecting to the present moment through your work and career, regardless of what you're doing, I think is great. Some of you are probably working a bit behind the scenes. Maybe some of you are actually taking a break from your work, things like that, you know, to bring in more tranquility so that your work life is more balanced. Okay. So in terms of now relationships, this is going to be seen by Jupiter and Pluto, who are not forming any major aspects this week. Of course, your personal chart will determine what's specifically going on for you in relationships. But collectively, for all you Geminis, it has been a really good time for connecting to your home, family, or your health, learning about that with Jupiter retrograde. That can be very much involving your relationships, you know, as you get in touch with the emotional and personal side of things in your relationships, that's strengthening them. And a lot of you are still letting go of a lot of past patterns with relationships, unhealthy patterns, which has been the theme for the past many years with Pluto in the 7th. But since Pluto has recently gone retrograde last week, maybe a lot of you are more internalizing this, doing the inner work of releasing those fears and those attachments and those unhealthy relationship patterns or perspectives that are based on fear. As you release those, it's, yes, definitely benefiting your relationship sector. All right, but Geminis, the way I would sum up this week is a new moon in your 11th house of your aspirations. Really good time there to plant some new seeds with these things, continuing to put energy into reworking that career, maybe healing some things with that perspective of career, productive life, taking things slow with that Saturn in your routine, and maybe working a bit behind the scenes or getting some tranquil time with Mars in your 12th house, getting things done in a more indirect way, exerting the least amount of energy possible, so it's more flowing, more enjoyable, in fact, in many ways. All right, and yeah, with your ruler still retrograde, great to be flexible and adaptive, and just try new things, learn some new things. Friday, mix some things up, and I think you'll find this to be an enjoyable week. All right, so Geminis, have a great one. Thank you again for all of your likes, comments, and shares. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below, and I will see you all next week. Welcome, Cancers, to your weekly horoscope. So let's first look at this new moon in your 10th house of career, of productive life, of everything that is about what you're producing in this life, whether it's for profit or not, or career or not. So new beginning here. It's a great time to set some new intentions with this area, both on a monthly and yearly sense, and just being flexible to see what is shaping up here, what new is coming in to your life involving this productive stuff, or maybe about achievement, success, your public image, giving back to society, things like that. So, you know, this is, of course, involving your ruler, the moon. So every new moon, it is a subtle time of listening. But for you, it's in a way an invigorating time and an expressive time, often is the case when your ruler goes over the sun. So all of this focus that I think you've probably started to notice towards your career, like since last weekend, you know, coming into this week, the sun's been going into the 10th. And so you've already been more focused on this area slowly but surely, but now maybe a bit of invigoration, a bit of focus and energy, just kind of kicking things off a bit, especially in areas like this. But what will be continuing to increase in terms of your momentum, your awareness, more of the external manifestations of that career as we go through the coming weeks. Now, I do want to mention that there is a lot of 9th house emphasis. You know, you do have Mercury retrograde in the 9th. Venus is here. So it is a great time to be rethinking your belief systems, your life path, where you headed. What is your view of your own life? You know, your life view. And what do you see as possible in all this? And some of you may be redoing or relearning some philosophy, some higher learning, such as university studies, things like that. Some of you may be about long distance matters. But you can be enjoying a lot of this stuff with Venus here, as it has been the case already for the past, what has been, 2 to 3 months, I believe, with Venus in your 9th. So there could be something maybe different and new and exciting around Friday with, you know, learning or long distance matters, maybe a bit of adventurous in your life. And yeah, that new insight can be freeing. It can also mix up that routine a bit to expand your horizons and open your mind to future possibilities. So now in terms of the financial side of things, this is seen by the North Node, who has been transiting your second house last year and this year. It's an excellent time for you to just be trying new things with this area of life. Reconnecting to your sense of self-worth, your sense of self-reliance, everything that is about your inner resources, because it's from the inner resources that we can cultivate the external resources such as finances. And this whole new moon is trining up to that North Node. So I think you have a lot of support with this. I think with whatever these new beginnings are with you generally, but probably about your career on some level or your productive life, that is directly supporting this larger picture here with the finances, which again is unfolding for the rest of the year. And I think the more you are just open to learning about it, trying new things with it, it supports it even more. Now, in terms of the work sector, again, this is what we've been talking about, the 10th house, career, new beginnings with this area. And yeah, so great to set those intentions, great to try some new things with all of this. You do have Pluto in your 6th house, but that's already been emphasized in the sense that you do always, you know, through these surrounding years, want to just be as open to change as possible with particularly your routine, you know, your daily work. And I think the more non-attached you are with your work, with your routine, it'll help that energy flow even more. And this has all been a recent Pluto retrograde. So a lot of you might be, you know, going within to see where this is all coming from. If there are any fears and attachments and things you're holding on to regarding your work that you can release and create more freedom with your work, more liberation there. And that could be certainly contributing to these new beginnings with your larger picture career this week. Now, in terms of relationships, this is seen by Saturn for you. Saturn is trining Mercury these first couple days, so there can be a bit of flow with communication or just a bit of flow with relationships in general these first couple days. But Saturn's in your 5th, so a lot of you have been building your self-expression. It's really the theme right now is you expressing yourself through your relationships. But healing, I think, is the name of the game this week. On Sunday, we do have Saturn squaring up to that Chiron. So there could certainly be some healing that you've been doing since December of last year. And so it's a new step in this direction. And I think, especially over this weekend, any steps you can take to challenge yourself to heal or to initiate some things that you feel like you're building or you're doing, you're cultivating with relationships, that by doing that will heal you, you know, because the wounds are there. And as you initiate this area and take these steps towards cultivating your relationships, even though the wounds are there, you can find it to be very healing, very transformative, very rejuvenating. And a lot of this is because you've been healing your worldview, your life view, you know, with Chiron in your 9th house. A lot of you are seeing that there might be some wounds about what is possible in your life and what is unfolding in the future. But know that this is all internal, it's all subjective, that things are very much in alignment for you with your life path at the moment, with all that 9th house energy. But it may just feel like there's wounds about it. So as you approach those wounds about your life, your perspective, your adventurous spirit, you're going to find that that directly does support your relationships as well. All right, so Cancers, the way I would sum up this week is a new beginning in your career sector. Very good there for short-term and long-term intentions, giving you a bit of vigor there in that area. Some of you might be very motivated, in fact, you know, involving your career, very motivated towards your network circles, networking, connecting to friends, or just very future-oriented with your career, and that's great. And seeing the value of your career and the income you derive from your career can be very motivating at the moment as well. You do have 9th house energy. There's things being rethought, reconsidered about the possibilities of life and your adventurous spirit, which is also healing you at the moment. And yeah, there's a lot to learn about the financial side of things. And yeah, great time for you to be building that self-expression, patience with the things you enjoy in life, patience with the things that are close to your heart with Saturn in your 5th, which is directly contributing to those relationships. All right. So Cancers, have a fantastic week. I do want to thank you all very much for all of you who've been supporting this channel over the years, liking, commenting, sharing these videos. If you do have any questions, feel free to comment down below. I'll do my best to answer them. And I'm wishing you the best week. All right. See you next week. Take care. I'll wait till I get back anyways. Okay. Because, it won't matter. I mean, it's up to you at that point if you want to switch it with. Well, I feel better than yours. That's what I'm saying. So, all right, I'll let you know. Welcome, Leos, to your weekly horoscope. So let's have a look here at this new moon first on Wednesday in your 9th house. A lot of you will be gearing up for some new beginnings involving your adventurous side or your philosophical side in life. Anything that expands your horizons, either literally, such as through travel, adventure, rural things, you know, getting out into the open air, hiking, stuff like that. Or for some of you more internally, such as through philosophies and expanding your mind, higher learning, spirituality, astrology even, things like that. So great to set intentions with anything 9th house related like this, but just seeing what is shaping up this week, what new beginnings are entering into your life, and just being flexible with it and, you know, going with the flow there. So along with that, there is a lot of 8th house energy here. You do have Mercury retrograde in the 8th. A lot of you are rethinking some of the deeper dimensions of life, maybe about yourself or about life and death, beginnings, endings, maybe where you can have more vulnerability and openness with yourself and with life and with relationships. But the thing is, you know, with Venus here, I think you can be enjoying a lot of this, actually. I think you're doing a lot of healing with that, with the Chiron, which we'll talk about, but you can be enjoying this and, you know, connecting on a deeper level, connecting, you know, through things like psychology and diving deep and even research and esoteric type of stuff. All of this, you know, diving deep is very enjoyable. And I think you're learning a lot in the process. In fact, here around Monday, Tuesday, at the beginning of the week, there might be a bit of flow, easygoingness here with the deeper side of things. But on Friday, when Mercury goes retrograde over Uranus, there might be something different, new about, you know, feeling a bit healed and transformed and rejuvenated based on what you're learning about these deeper aspects of yourself and of life. And that's basically what it's about. In terms of self, it's about, you know, exploring all those things that we've hidden away and brushed under the rug, so to speak, over the years. And now we can lift up that rug, we can see it, we can become more holistic, much more integrated as we accept all of these aspects of life, the good, bad, the ugly, the beautiful, you know, all dimensions of that, you know, positive, negative duality of life. And these are all just the mental constructs. So it's just becoming more holistic with all aspects of life. All right, so that's the 8th house emphasis, but let's look at the financial side of things for you. This is also seen by Mercury, who is retrograde, so it is a great time to be trying new things with the finances, being flexible, adaptive there. You do have Jupiter in your 2nd house, mind you. He's retrograde also, but yeah, I think a lot of you are reworking some opportunities financially. I think a lot of those opportunities will start to move forward probably in early June. But yeah, also maybe in terms of shared resources right now with the 2nd house ruler in the 8th, could be rethinking those matters, or debts, loans, other people's money, things of that nature. And maybe something new and different regarding finances, maybe a new opportunity or something around Friday when Mercury goes over Uranus. Now, Mercury is going to pass over Uranus when he goes direct too. So there might just be a sort of prelude to what is changing here for you, you know, financially. But what's really changing, though, is your sense of self-worth. I think it's very strong with Jupiter in your 2nd house at the moment. I think you are seeing what's possible with your values in life and learning more about interdependency and maybe relying on others, or about unhealthy things you may have in your life that do involve others' finances, like debts, if they are holding you down, they're not being managed. So anyways, just great to be learning about this financial stuff, about your own sense of self-worth, and through the process, making some changes there, which I think you'll start to notice more so once Mercury goes direct next week. All right, so in terms of the work sector, this is seen by Saturn. And so Saturn's down here in your 4th house, really good for your health, to be taking your health seriously. Also taking matters relating to your home seriously at the moment, you know, building this stuff for the long term. A lot of your guys' routine could be very much directly related to your home at the moment, or your work could be related to your home. But this week, there is a bit of flow coming into it. Monday, Tuesday, Saturn trines Mercury. A bit of flow with the work. But then here, as we get into Sunday, that's Saturn squaring up to Chiron. As I was saying, there's some healing that you're doing on a deeper level, and will be for the next many years, like 10 years with Chiron here. Not all as deep as it may be from time to time. It'll change in terms of its depth, and as we go through it, we evolve. But if there is anything now with this square to Saturn that you do feel like is some wounds that are coming up about your work or your routine or your health, or something that you can take some set some intentions with, set some, you know, take some steps with, I think you can find this to be very healing. So in other words, as you get deeper with life and you're healing all these deeper aspects of yourself, I think you're going to find that that does directly contribute to your work and career, and also to your health as well. Okay. Now, in terms of relationships, this is also seen by Saturn. It's a great time to get personal in your relationships, as it has been the past couple of years. Saturn in the 4th. Great time to be connecting to your emotions there, connecting long-term relationships based on, you know, the emotional connection and your sentiments, connecting to those that you would consider your family, even though they're not necessarily like your biological family. But yeah, getting into the deeper emotional side of it nonetheless. And I think over this weekend with that square up to Chiron, there's probably some healing with relationships as well. Is there something relationship related that you can set some intentions with, take some actions towards, that you feel like you feel wounded about, but if you took those steps, it would heal you, it would rejuvenate you. And I think between now and September is just an excellent time to do that. To do that initiating of healing that, yes, can be very refreshing, very rejuvenating. And again, in the 8th house, just helping you connect to relationships here in a much more deeper, open, and more vulnerable way. All right. And as the underlying current to all of this, the North Node is in your 1st house. So it is a time of you being independent. And as you're developing that independence, you're going to find that does directly contribute to your relationships as well. All right. So Leos, the way I would sum up this week is a new moon in your 9th. A lot of you are starting new beginnings with the adventurous or philosophical, open-minded perspective of life. Mind you, a lot of you too are actually motivated towards your career at the moment. I didn't mention that. Mars is still in your 10th, so great for motivation, drive towards big picture things. It is still a deeper time. A lot of you are going back to redo some of this deeper stuff in life, your perspective on life and death, beginnings, endings, the good, the bad, all of this stuff that is usually hidden in life. So you're uncovering that. It can be very freeing maybe around Friday. Mercury goes over Uranus, but you can be enjoying it. This healing you're doing is rejuvenating you here with this openness with life, directly contributing to your relationships as well as your work and career as well. All right, so Leos, have a fantastic week. Thank you for all of your support, for liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos, and I will see you all next week. Take care. Virgos, welcome to your weekly horoscope. So let's first look at this new moon that's going to be in your 8th house this week. So I think there has been a lot of emphasis and still is very much on relationships, which we'll get to. But right now, this is particularly about you getting into the deeper dimensions of life. This is the step after the 7th where we get into openness with ourself, vulnerability with ourself. Uncovering the rug, so to speak, of all the things that we've hidden away before. And so as you're becoming more integrated now, in other words, as you're accepting all these dimensions of yourself, the good, bad, the ugly, the beautiful, all dimensions, but usually the darker side, the shadow side, you're embracing that, accepting those aspects of yourself, you're going to find this is a very transformative time. And that's what this new moon's all about, is transforming yourself through connecting to life in a way of connecting to what matters most, what truly matters to you. But in order to do that, yes, it does require getting open, vulnerable, and deep. I think you are willing to do that. I think a lot of things are being uncovered, which as a result will be transforming you. So along with that, yes, relationships could be playing a role with, openness. As you become more open with yourself and life, it could certainly be directly relating to your relationships. You do have your ruler in the 7th house retrograde, so it is just a great time to be learning trying new things, being flexible. I think a lot of you are learning about relationships, maybe communication, relationships, things like that. But yes, certainly being emphasized. And Monday and Tuesday, we do have Mercury trining Saturn, so you could be feeling quite grounded coming into the week, which is good. Maybe grounded in those one-to-one connections. And Mercury will be going over Uranus on Friday, so maybe something new and different in your life where you're feeling like you're learning something that is freeing you up, or you're trying new things. You're open to change. You're open to flexibility. You're open to unexpected and exciting things, and that can be a great energy to now cultivate for you, even going into next week, because Mercury is going to go direct next week and then pass back over Uranus. So there's a lot you're learning here about freedom and change and being open to, you know, new and different things. And I think a lot of that is relationship related, because Uranus in your 7th house for the past like 7 years has been showing you the immense importance of freedom in relationships. Okay, so looking now at the financial side of things, this is seen by Venus, who is in your 7th. A lot of you could be involved in financial partnerships at the moment, or seeing financial opportunities through your relationships in some sense. So good to be aware of that. But you know, the 8th house is also a financial house. This is about shared resources. So some of you could be starting a new beginning about having healthy interdependency in your life, right? Because we do all rely on each other economically. Even the most self-reliant of us depend on the economy, which is just a collection of other individuals trading and exchanging services and goods. But here it might be more personal for you, in the sense that some of you might be depending on others financially, or starting something new in terms of a new loan or new debts. And it is good to have, you know, it's okay to have healthy debts, right? It's okay to have healthy borrowing of money, so long as it's, you know, balanced. And so some of you might be starting something new with that, managing other people's money, managing debts, things like that. That could be starting a new beginning for you in terms of essentially cultivating your finances. But again, most fundamentally, cultivating more trust. If it is more personal, like shared resources with someone you know on a personal level, you know, this is all part of the trust dynamic as well, which again is what this deeper dimension is about. As you're becoming more open and vulnerable in relationships, it could certainly be playing out financially as well. Now, in terms of the work sector, this is seen by Mercury as well, your ruler, who's in the 7th. You might be rethinking, redoing your work at the moment, you know, your career, as is the case when Mercury goes retrograde. And again, this could be directly relating to your one-to-one relationships, partnerships. Some of you may be reestablishing old relationships. Some of you maybe with your clients, if you have clients through your work. Some of you re-examining any contracts you might have, or legal things with your work, or partnerships with your work, things like that. And again, I think just being adaptive, trying new things, flexible with the career is important. And again, developing these relationships in the process. Along with that, Saturn does rule your routine, and Saturn at the end of the week on Sunday, but pretty much all week long as we approach the weekend, there is this healing that I think if you do feel any wounds, or have been feeling wounds since late December of last year regarding your work, your ability to cultivate your crafts, your skills, your routine, your time management, energy management, anything that's a wound around that, I think it's great to initiate this and move this energy forward, you know, face those wounds, and the healing can certainly come into the mix. Now, this is mostly because you've been doing healing in relationships. And so as you're doing this healing in relationships, it's going to directly contribute to, you know, it's going to contribute to your work in some way here. So as you, yes, face those wounds, accept those wounds this later part of the week, I think you're going to find this to be very rejuvenating for both your relationships and your work, as well as even your communication. You know, Saturn's been helping you get real grounded and balanced with your communication these past couple years. And so as you're taking things nice and slow with the, you know, correspondence or the communication you're learning about, you're developing it, that is a big part of this healing process as well. All right, so the way I would sum up this week, Virgo, is you do have this new moon in your 8th house, a new beginning about what matters most in life, and connecting to what matters most, to the truth of life. And that could be directly relating to your relationships, which is Mercury, your ruler in the 7th. Maybe rethinking some things here, reconsidering, being flexible, seeing where things are going with them, seeing where life is taking you with them. And around Friday, maybe trying some new and different things there, whether it's relationship or not. Maybe it's career, something new and different there on Friday as well. And yeah, things certainly unfolding for you in terms of, the bigger picture with the career through relationships, as well as this healing you're doing through relationships, which I think is directly supporting and can be helping you grow with your work and career and anything else that you are building or striving towards this year. All right, so Virgos, have a fantastic week. I do want to thank you all very much for all of your likes, comments, and shares of these videos. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below, and I'll do my best to answer them. But have a great week, and I will see you all next week. Libras, welcome to your weekly horoscope. So let's look at, just as a backdrop, your ruler Venus. She is in your 6th house of work. We'll talk more about the work sector, but I think that is an area of emphasis, or maybe your routine, your diet, your regimens, things like that is great to be cultivating, even though a lot of that you're probably reconsidering at the moment. You've got Mercury retrograde in your 6th house. So it is good to be trying some new things with your routine, your daily activities. But through that process, you're learning a lot. There could even be some new and exciting things involving that around Friday when Mercury goes over Uranus. And it's all about freedom, with your routine and work. That's what Uranus has been helping you cultivate these past 7 years, is more freedom with this. So could be learning about that. And there could be some new insight and a new shift about that this later part of the week. But the new moon is going to be in your 7th house of relationships. We'll look at that more once we get to the relationship portion of this video. But certainly important for you in a larger sense that there is now this solar new beginning about one-to-one connections. And any new insights you do gain this week is great to cultivate for the coming weeks and months here. All right, so now looking at the financial side of things, you do have Saturn in your 2nd house, has been there for the past 2 years. Really good to be patient, do the disciplined, long-term thing here, the responsible thing with your finances. Maybe even rethinking some of that with Saturn retrograde at the moment. Redoing some of that financial stuff is possible. But I think there's a shared resource emphasis, and has been for the past couple weeks. Mars has been in your 8th house, so some of you have been more motivated to work with other people's money or loans or debts, things like this that can be facilitating the financial process. And of course, we want to do all that in healthy ways, but sometimes there is a good way to work with debt. Sometimes, loans can be a healthy thing when done properly. And so if you are working with that side of it, it could be directly, yes, proportionate to what is hopefully this hard work that you're doing in terms of the bigger picture here, and really building that inner self-reliance, self-worth that Saturn is helping you cultivate with those finances. Now, in terms of the work sector, yes, very activated for you. Venus, your rulers here. Mercury retrograde. There's a lot to learn about it at the moment, but you could be enjoying your work. You could be enjoying your routine, this week, as you have been, in fact. Now, Monday and Tuesday, Mercury will be trining Saturn from the 6th, so you do have a bit of probably support there for, again, productive things. Monday and Tuesday, and then Friday, yes, mixing things up. Maybe some new information, new opportunity, maybe something unexpected in the routine. But if you're open to new things, it's a very positive thing. It's a new beginning about you bringing in more freedom into your work, which has, again, already been very much emphasized for you. And with the Mercury retrograde, just being as flexible and adaptive with the work and routine stuff as possible. Now, looking at the relationship side of things, which is certainly being very much emphasized for you, you do have this new beginning here. So you'll likely notice more of this unfolding throughout the later part of the week and more so next week as the lunar cycle starts to cultivate. But if there's any intentions you do want to set with relationships, both for the lunar month and the solar year, it may be a good time to do that. But most importantly, it's about sort of listening, seeing what new perspectives are coming in about relationships and all of this, and maybe new things quite literally. And yes, cultivating those new beginnings, nurturing those new beginnings as you go through these coming weeks and months. And I do want to say too, the whole relationship sector has been emphasizing the 8th house, so probably openness, vulnerability, deeper connections there is very important. I think you're probably wanting that, motivated towards that, really connecting the real raw truth and just the real raw elements of the relationship. Could even be very passionate for a lot of you. But that's what it's about, right? These relationships, it's about, there's surface relationships, and I think you're starting, a new perspective about those. But in terms of maybe your existing relationships or relationships you want to get deeper with or romantic with even, there is this, I think this drive to really get to the core, the truth of who we are. And it all starts with us being open and vulnerable and having trust. And I think that's a great energy to implement into these new beginnings with your relationships. All right. So Libras, that is the week in a nutshell. The way I would sum this up is that, yes, you have new beginnings with relationships. Great to be cultivating that this week, particularly the deeper side of them and of yourself and of life. Lots of energy still with your work and your routine. Mercury's retrograde here, lots to learn, maybe some new insight, maybe some new ideas here around Friday to where you can have a bit more freedom or align your work with what you're truly about. We do have this Saturn squaring up to Chiron. So for you, this might be involving your work. In fact, if you do feel any wounds about your work or your ability to cultivate your skills and your crafts at work and things like that, or your work environment, it's an excellent second half of the week to face those wounds, accept those wounds. You can find that to be very rejuvenating. That could actually probably directly support your financial sector, in fact, which is more about the responsibility at the moment, taking things slow there with that Saturn. And and Jupiter's in your 12th, so good time to be maybe getting some rest, relaxation as it has been. You should have plenty of opportunity to work behind the scenes, get some meditative time, things like that, which can balance out a lot of this, what could be a very busy time for a lot of you with your work and routine. All right, so Libras, have a fantastic week. If you do have any questions, feel free to comment down below. Thank you for all of your likes, comments, and shares, and I will see you all next week. Scorpio and Ophiuchus, welcome to your weekly horoscope. So as a recap, your ruler Mars is in the 7th house of relationships. I think a lot of you are very direct in your relationships at the moment or motivated by them in some way. And I think it's great to be continuing to do that. We'll talk more about relationships when we get to that segment, but yes, certainly good to be cultivating new ones and existing ones there. You do have Saturn in your 1st house still. And he's gone retrograde though, so a lot of you are rethinking maybe some of the responsibilities and hard work that you've been cultivating in your life, maybe the past couple of years. Saturn's been helping you develop more patience, responsibility, discipline, things like that. But you do get a bit of a break with that when Saturn's retrograde. Or you're just more internalizing it, thinking about it, redoing some things involving your goals and ambitions. Now that Saturn is going to be squaring up to that Chiron, and for both of you, but especially for you Ophiuchuses, because this is your modern ruler here, Chiron. But for generally, let's look at this for both of you. There is this healing taking place this week, I think very strongly in terms of what will be more of a healed sense of self and identity. And again, it's based on what you've been already striving for, building these past couple of years. But where the wounds are coming from is likely with your self-expression. If you do feel like there are any wounds about your self-expression, about anything that you're passionate about or is close to your heart that you do want to cultivate, but you do feel wounds about it, it's an excellent second half of the week and going into next week, particularly around Sunday here, to take those initiative steps, take those actions there to heal those wounds. And, usually with the square, it does mean taking some sort of initiation, some sort of action that might be uncomfortable, but we know if we did, it would heal us. And so if you do feel anything like that involving self-expression, involving yourself, even involving maybe communications, for some of you, even your home life, but in either case, if you do feel that, I think it's great to, initiate, take those steps, be patient with the whole matter. Saturn is about patience. And again, this is going to be going on up until September of this year. But I think there's a shift taking place in terms of, okay, now we're clear in terms of what these wounds are. And now we know what we need to do or be patient with, but take those slow and steady steps with to heal, to initiate these things, which we know will heal us as a result. Now, speaking specifically to you Ophiuchuses, since Chiron is your ruler, a square to Saturn can mean you can be feeling a bit restricted this week going into next. So just all in all, I think mostly for you guys, the most important thing here is the patience, the taking a step back if you feel like it, or if there is anything that you do feel like you may want to build for the long term and it's going to take some time. Taking the initial steps towards that. But I think patience is the most important thing with Saturn, and also taking the slow and steady steps towards cultivating those bigger picture things is a fantastic way of working with this. All right, and speaking in terms of this 5th house for both of you, you do have Mercury retrograde in this 5th. So a lot of you are learning about your self-expression at the moment. That's great. A lot of you are even enjoying some things like your hobbies, interests, creative projects. Again, connecting to anything close to your heart. And that can be very enjoyable. Mercury can help you learn about these things through maybe trying some new things here. And around Friday, maybe something new and different. Maybe something new and fun, actually, in the 5th house. Or a new creative project or a new hobby interest or something like that, just mixing things up. Might be a bit unexpected actually, but it's really helping you have more freedom of self-expression, freedom of, doing the things that you're passionate about, cultivating the things that are close to your heart, and all in all, just having more freedom of you being who you are, expressing yourself, having a bit of fun. So that's the area. And I think with the retrograde, just trying new things that give you the passion, make your heart sing, so to speak. And you'll find this maybe an exciting week, but at the very least, you're learning quite a bit about these passions of yours. All right, so that is the way I would sum up the general look at the week. But let's look at this financial stuff. Nothing specific going on, but there might be for your personal chart. But collectively for all of you, it's just more of this, maybe your finances are more future oriented with Jupiter in your 11th. Some of you are reconsidering your aspirations and future things and your finances right now, which is exactly what you want to do. Releasing some attachments to the financial side of things, being willing to live maybe a bit minimalistic or just not as attached to the material world can help that energy flow. Now, in terms of the work sector, you do have a new moon in your 6th house on Wednesday. Some of you might be starting new jobs, new work, a new routine perhaps, but whatever it is, I think just kind of listening at this time, seeing what new things are coming into your life, and then rolling with the punches. Just see where it goes, put energy into that. It's a great time to set some new intentions, but be flexible in the process as well. Now, in terms of relationships, which yes, is very much emphasized for you, your ruler in the 7th, it is in many ways a time of relationships, developing new ones and cultivating existing ones. And anything that is about, you being direct, with balance and tact, of course, but, with your, maybe communicating or directly, making clear what your personal needs are, what you want, things like that could be a very important thing maybe that's needed in your relationships, but also giving your partners and others in your life the same freedom to do that as well. For them to be direct, independent, and then it's two independent individuals coming together for the relationship in a way that's much more clear about what you want, what they want, what your needs are, what their needs are, that kind of a thing. But again, nothing particular about this week with that. That's been an ongoing theme with Mars in that 7th. In terms of Venus, who does rule your 7th house, she's in that 5th. So I think as you're developing the self-expression, a bit of creativity, for some of you, a bit of romance in those romantic relationships, you're going to find that self-expression does directly contribute to relationships at the moment. As I said, it could be very fun time, playful time, creative time, and that could certainly be through relationships. All right, so Scorpio and Ophiuchus, I hope you all have a fantastic week. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like, comment, and share. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comment section. Wish you all the very best, and I'll see you all next week. Welcome, Sagittarius, to your weekly horoscope. All right, so let's first look at Jupiter as a backdrop. Jupiter is in your 10th house, your ruler. And so it has been, I think, a great time to be maybe rethinking, reworking some things relating to your career, your productive life, but seeing how you can expand with it. And because your ruler is retrograde, it is just good to be kind of flexible at the moment, because you're learning new things about yourself, you're learning new things about your career and all this. And so as the information changes, your life is going to change and your decisions are going to change. So I think a lot of this will move forward in early June once your ruler goes direct. But yes, there's still a lot to expand with involving your career and to learn about yourself in the process. Now, you do have a new moon in your 5th house of self-expression. A lot of you will be starting some new things involving creativity, fun, playfulness, tangible things such as your creative projects like your work. Some of you maybe new romantic relationships. Some of you maybe even new children in your life is quite possible. Anything that's essentially things you create or that are close to your heart can be starting to be cultivated here for the next few weeks and the next coming months in this both lunar and solar cycle. So very good here to just kind of see what it is around this week, see what new information's coming in, see where life is shifting and taking you. But I think most fundamentally for all of you, it is about expressing yourself, having a bit of fun, playfulness, creativity in your life, and cultivating those things. Some of you too, maybe some new hobbies and interests. All right, so along with that, there is still a lot of 4th house emphasis. This is on home matters, or some of you health matters, or both. You're probably rethinking, reworking a lot of these roots in your life, home or health stuff. That's the Mercury retrograde through here. Could be a bit of flow coming into the week with it as Saturn trines that Mercury Monday, Tuesday. And then around Friday, when Mercury goes over that Uranus here in your 4th, a lot of you may be something new and different and exciting, perhaps involving home or your health, new information, just mixing things up with the routine there. Can be quite exciting, starting a new chapter, but in many ways an ongoing chapter actually over these next couple weeks as Mercury goes retrograde, passes Uranus, goes direct, passes Uranus again, really activating the fact that these past 7 years, it's been important for you to have freedom in your home life anyways, freedom with your health as well. And so with whatever it is you're reconsidering at the moment, it could directly contribute to more freedom in these departments. And you could be enjoying this as well. You do have Venus in your 4th house, enjoying connecting with your family, maybe spending some time at home. Things like that can be enjoyable. All right, now looking at the financial side of things, this is seen by Saturn for you. Saturn is, again, trining Mercury coming into the week, so could be a bit of flow Monday, Tuesday with this, but that's on a minor note. I think on a larger note, on Sunday, Saturn is going to be squaring up to Chiron. So have you been feeling any wounds since late December regarding financial stuff, regarding, your values in life? And if so, this is an excellent part of the week, the second half going into next week, to initiate some steps towards, facing these wounds and taking the steps that you feel like you may want to take or need to take in order to heal these wounds. And so mind you that Saturn's in your 12th house, so it's supposed to be a time of more of letting go when it comes to the financial material stuff. In other words, of everything outside of your control and surrendering that to have more peace in your life, which is what Saturn's helping you cultivate at the moment. But yes, with that perspective of surrender of everything outside of your control, maybe there are some steps that you can't take. Maybe they are spiritual steps. Maybe there are letting go. Maybe there are meditation, things like this, more surrendering there. But whatever it is, if you do feel like there's some steps that are uncomfortable, that you feel wounded about, maybe ask your inner guidance. Maybe it's a good time to take those steps that could be very healing for you, both in terms of your finances and in the sense of your inner sense of self-worth. That you are capable of attaining your values. You do have everything within to cultivate the things you truly value in life. And as you heal these wounds there, I think you'll find that between now and September is an excellent time for implementation regarding particularly more of this accepting of these wounds, facing these wounds that can really heal you in this area. And a lot of it's because you've been healing maybe some wounds regarding your home life or your health even. A lot of you are probably going through a lot of healing with your health, quite literally. And so in some way, that could be directly contributing to it as well. All right, now in terms of the work sector, this is seen by Mercury, who rules your 10th house of career. Mercury's retrograde. It's going to go direct next week, but this week, still great to be adaptive with the career, as we were talking about with your ruler there, Jupiter retrograde as well. But some of you are working from home. Some of you are dealing with career things having to do with your personal life or personal things or home things, things like that. And so just continuing to learn about all this home and health stuff is going to be directly contributing to your career, because obviously we can't have good career if things aren't good around the personal life, and vice versa. So they're all related here for you, but in speaking specifically of your career, it's just a great time to be adaptive, flexible, try new things with it. On Friday, there might be something new and different, something exciting perhaps, but unexpected. But again, with the retrograde, just be as adaptive as you can with it. And yeah, and this is all based on what you're learning. And it could be some new innovative ideas, in fact, surrounding your career around that time. And this will be going into next week as well, because once Mercury goes direct, he's got to pass back over Uranus again. All right, so now let's look at the relationship stuff. This is seen by that Mercury who rules your 7th house of relationships. Again, just like your career, excellent time to be flexible with them, rethinking your relationships or redoing some things that were relationship oriented, such as partnership agreements or contracts, things like that. But I think for you, it's probably more in regards to your personal life, more about the home, family, connecting to your relationships in perhaps a more emotional way. Caring way, nurturing way, reflective way. A lot of you are probably reflecting on the past in regards to your relationships at the moment. But whatever it is, as I said, as you get more in greater touch with your emotions at this time, with your home, with your family, there's more receptive things in life. You're going to find it benefits all areas, and I think relationships is certainly a key area for that. And there might be something new and different with relationships. You may gain some insight about some freedom in relationships, the importance of that, and how exciting maybe that can be around Friday. And I think, again, the more open you are to new things and it's a bit of unexpected stuff around Friday could be beneficial for both your home and health, as well as your work and career, as well as your relationships. All right, those are all key areas involved with that Mercury. All right, so Sagittarius, I hope you all have a fantastic week. Thank you again for all of your likes. If you did find this video helpful, please like, comment, and share this video. But I'll see you all next week. Have a great one, and take care. Welcome, Capricorn, to your weekly horoscope. So let's do a recap. Your ruler Saturn is retrograde up in your 11th house. So a lot of you are reconsidering maybe some of these future aspirations of yours, maybe reconsidering your network circles or friends type of stuff, if that's the case for you. But your ruler is going to be scoring up to Chiron this week. So as we approach Sunday, maybe there's some wounds that you can be facing. Maybe it's involving communication. Maybe it's involving your perspective on things, of the mind, practical matters. If you do feel any wounds about practical things, whether it's reading, writing, communication, trade, business, things like that, It's an excellent week to face those wounds, accept those wounds, and this can be a very rejuvenating process. And between now and September, doing that healing, challenging yourself there to do that. And I think you'll find this to be a very rewarding time in a sense that, yes, you are healing these wounds and feeling much more like yourself, more well-rounded in the sense that you've accepted all these aspects of yourself, more holistic, more integrated. And even though it's uncomfortable to do so, it can be very, very rejuvenating and refreshing. Now, you do have a new moon down here in your 4th house, suggesting new beginnings with home or health or both for a lot of you. So setting new intentions with this, being flexible with it. We are in the early phases of the new moon, so you do want to try some new things and just kind of see where life is taking you. But yeah, setting those intentions and then being flexible in the process is a fantastic way of working with these new beginnings, which are both new beginnings for the coming weeks, but also for the coming, months here with this solar cycle. Now, there is a lot of 3rd house emphasis for you. Mercury's retrograde through your 3rd. Some of you are maybe re-editing things, redoing things that maybe you've written, or practical things, or going back and learning some things, whatever that is, or learning more about communication or something like that. So anything involving the exchanges of life, things like reading, like we gain information, or speaking, we give information, or trade, business, exchanging, money for things and goods and services and all this. This can be, and has been highly activated, but with Mercury retrograde, just be flexible with all of this stuff. There might be some new and different things around Friday as Mercury goes over that Uranus with these things, or short distance travel, stuff like that. So be open to new things. Be open to a bit of unexpected, which could be exciting, new things involving this. And you could be enjoying a lot of this. Venus is in your 3rd house, so it is a great time to be enjoying a bit of this more practical stuff, exchanging stuff in your life at the moment. That is where the wounds are. But again, you're healing them, you're accepting them, and that can be, again, very rejuvenating as a result. All right, so let's look at I do want to say also, though, that with Mercury trining up to your ruler Monday, Tuesday, coming into this week before that new moon, you actually could be feeling quite mentally stimulated, really good for learning, reading, writing, all of this practical stuff as well. All right, so let's look at the financial side of things. This is also seen by your ruler Saturn, who rules your 2nd house of finance. Yes, maybe there's some wounds that are related to financial stuff that you could be healing this later part of the week. All right, facing those wounds, accepting them can be very rejuvenating there. And your finances is all very much about the future aspirations, the future things here. So as you're reconsidering that, it is also reconsidering the financial side of it. And it's just a great time to be rethinking a lot of the financial matters at the moment. And with your North Node in the 8th house, it is suggesting that maybe there is a dose of bringing more balance back to your sense of self-reliance. Yes, we need to be self-reliant in life, but at the same time, we also do need to be depending on others, or at least being aware of how we do depend on others. That even in an economic situation, the most self-reliant of us are dependent on others in the economy. And but in a personal sense, maybe it's a good time to be relying on others, not fully, maybe not even financially, but on some level, just connecting into a bit of trust, developing that trust with others, and maybe working with others' finances, others' money, taking out loans, perhaps, if it's healthy in that sense for you. It's done in manageable ways, healthy ways. This could be an emphasis for you at the moment, is more of the other people's money side to the financial side of things, in terms of learning more about that and cultivating that. But that's a yearly thing. That's going to be all year long there. Not particularly being activated this week, but I did want to mention it. Now, in terms of the work, this is seen by Mercury, who rules your 6th house of routine. Mercury's retrograde. I think a lot of your routines are changing. It's great, again, to be flexible with the routines this week. Maybe something new and different with the routine around Friday, mixing things up, and maybe new insights about your work around Friday as well. Probably thinking outside the box, coming up with new ideas could be the case for a lot of you. In terms of relationships, you do have Mars in your 5th house, so a lot of you have been very direct with your self-expression right now, maybe very motivated towards things like fun, playfulness, romance, creativity, And that could be a great way of cultivating that energy through your relationships, expressing yourself with others, having a bit of fun there. And that could be motivating for you. In terms of this new moon, because the moon does rule your 7th house, there could be, as there always is in a cyclical sense, a new chapter with relationships. But I think this is a new chapter with the importance of maybe this whole new beginning with your home or your health at the moment in some way. Maybe new relationships being shaped up as a result of that. And maybe getting emotional, connected emotionally with your relationships. Seeing that it is about developing the nurturing, the caring, the sentiments with others at the moment in a personal sense that could certainly be helping you develop those relationships. All right, so Capricorns, have a fantastic week. If you do have any questions, please feel free to comment down below. But thank you again for all of your likes, comments, and shares. If you did like this video, be sure to like, comment down below, and share it with your friends and family. But yeah, have a fantastic week, and I'll see you all next week. Welcome, Aquarius, to your weekly horoscope. So first, as a recap, let's look at Saturn, your ruler, up there in the 10th house, retrograde. So a lot of you are maybe taking a bit of a step back or reconsidering some things involving your long-term career or your productive life. And that's good because it is a time of patience with a lot of this. And during this retrograde over the next roughly 5 months, it'll give you plenty of opportunity here to maybe reconsider this stuff and really see where you want to go into the long term involving this productive stuff in your life. Now, there is a new moon, a new beginning this week in your 3rd house of communication, of trade, of learning, and anything else that is about giving and taking, whether it's the financial, whether it's giving and taking information, so just through reading and writing and things like that. So listen, see what new is shaping up this week here around Wednesday. In terms of this area that you may feel like you do want to cultivate for the short term, these coming weeks, but also the next year with the beginning of this yearly cycle here. Now, I do want to mention later in the week, the 2nd half, your ruler Saturn is going to be squaring up to Chiron. So a lot of you are doing some healing this week. I think a lot of you have been already since late December. But if you do feel any wounds around your sense of self-worth, or your finances or your resources or something like that, and it could be directly relating to the career in some way, or whatever it is. It's a great 2nd half if you're feeling any wounds and you know there's some actions you can take, some steps you can take to heal those wounds, right? Through taking those steps, I think it's a fantastic time of the year to do that. In fact, now could be a shifting point, a pivotal point, where as you set this intention, you take these steps to do this healing, even though you know it's taking time and it's going to be a patient process. The initiation here is going to be with you up until September. And so between now and September, it's just an excellent time to face any wounds, accept any wounds. And again, this is generally about yourself because we're talking about your ruler here. But it could again be relating to the resources or your self-worth. Could be relating to the career in some sense. And as you do that, that initiation, it's going to rejuvenate you because it's through the steps with Chiron. It's actually through going into it head on almost that we go, oh, wait, this is not so bad. And we actually feel invigorated and refreshed and rejuvenated as a result. So whatever that might mean for you personally, this is going to go exact on Sunday. But going into the weekend, certainly an excellent time to face those wounds. Now, in terms of the financial, let's dive into this a little bit deeper. because while you're doing some healing there, Mercury is retrograde through your second house. So some of you are reconsidering some of this stuff in this area. Mercury is going to go over Uranus, here around Friday. So there might be some new innovative ideas about the finances that, again, it might be coming from what you're rethinking or redoing at the moment. Or maybe you'll just come to some idea about where you can have more freedom in your life. That, finances can promote freedom by having them, but also they can also bind us depending on how it is. If it's through like a job or career we don't like or something like that. So it depends. But asking yourself where you can have more freedom in your financial life that will liberate you. And it might be a change you may want to make. But it's not, it's not a solid time to be making long-term changes. But there might be just some sort of idea or something. In fact, when Mercury does go direct next week and then passes back over Uranus after that, that might be a more solidifying time. So with the retrograde, just be flexible and adaptive, but yes, open your mind to new possibilities about freedom with your inner and outer resources. Now, in terms of your work, we already covered most of this. Saturn is in your 10th, so it is still good to be long-term and patient with career stuff, but at the same time, be learning about it, flexible about it, and for some of you taking a step back from it for a second. But this is an important time in a very large cycle. Saturn's a 29-year cycle, and he is going to be solidifying now for about almost the next year while he goes back into your 10th and then leaves. He'll be gone there, in about a year. So there are some things that you're wrapping up, finishing about the importance of building your career in a way that it is an expression of what you're truly about. Saturn, the ruler of Aquarius, and Aquarius is all about being who you truly are. So when Saturn passes through an area like this, in this case your career or anything you do productively, this is about really doing it because it's an expression of what you're about, who you are for the long term, building it into the future. All right, now Mars, in terms of the 10th house ruler, down at the bottom, some of you are maybe working from home at the moment or spending more time at home with your career in some way, or getting some more personal life. Getting in touch with your health could be very motivating, in fact, and that could be directly contributing to your career. So there is a balance taking place. I think both the personal life and career life is important. Both the health and career is important at the moment, and that could be playing a theme, as I think it already has been these past couple weeks at least. So now looking at the relationships, you do have the North Node in the 7th house. This whole year is excellent about learning about relationships. Generally, Mercury, the planet of your self-expression, is retrograde. So a lot of you are maybe rethinking your self-expression or the things you enjoy in life, things you're passionate about. Maybe something new and different on Friday about expressing yourself in new ways. Trying new things could be a bit of fun. Maybe in those relationships it's possible. And and so as you're learning more about this sense of self-worth, it's helping you express yourself and have a bit of fun as well. All right, so Aquarius, that is the week in a nutshell. The way I would sum this up generally is, yes, this larger theme is about taking this larger perspective, this patient perspective with the productive side of things. Maybe doing some healing the second half of the week with the square to Chiron. Very good there for anything that you feel like can be initiated for that healing. We do have a new moon in your 3rd house, new beginnings about learning, sharing ideas, receiving information, trade, exchanging with others. Maybe some of you connecting with your peers or your community. Could be a new chapter going into next week. Give this time because, it's a subtle time when the new moon is occurring. But as we go through the days and weeks and even months, it builds more momentum. So, but new beginnings, see what it is. Generally, it's probably a few different areas for you, like even connecting with your siblings. For those of you who have siblings in your life, maybe a new relationship forming there. But peers, learning, exchanging, all of that is the area of new seeds being planted. All right, so Aquarius, have a fantastic week. If you did find this video helpful, be sure to like, comment, and share it. But I do want to thank you all very much for all of you who've been supporting this channel over the past weeks or years, months, however long you've been with this channel. But have a fantastic week, and I will see you all next week. Welcome, Pisces, to your weekly horoscope. So let's look at this first house of yours because it is still very much being activated. You've got Mercury retrograde in your first house. A lot of you are reconsidering some things about who you are, what you want in life. And I think this week when Mercury goes over Uranus, particularly around Friday, maybe where you can have a bit of freedom in your life. Freedom being who you are, being your true self. This is what Uranus has been helping you cultivate the past like 7 years here. And now with Mercury retrograde over it, I think a lot of you will be learning about this. I think you're learning about yourself anyways. But when Mercury passes over Uranus, maybe learning about that true self and the importance of having freedom and having a bit of excitement, trying new things in our life, things like that. Now, Saturn is going to be squaring up to this Chiron in your first house as we get to the second half of this week most strongly. And this is that a lot of you have been healing this confidence and this sense of independence and courage and stuff like this with Chiron in your first. So know that this is an ongoing healing that you're doing, and it's all internal. It's not a reflection of your actual, abilities or whatever. But if you do feel any wounds the second half of the week, it is an excellent time to sort of take those initiative steps, take those actions there to do that healing. I think you'll find that to be very rejuvenating. But be patient in the process because we're talking about square to Saturn. Saturn is about patience. A lot of this is about patience, about the life path and how things are unfolding in the more expansive or adventurous or higher learning side of life, which a lot of you are grounding and taking seriously. But yeah, take all this slow. This will be all the way up until September. So we come up to this now second aspect where now we at least become a bit clear about what we can do or what steps we can take to heal. And it may be uncomfortable, again, it may take time because it's a square to Saturn. But just a little bit of this really goes a long ways, and between now and September is just a great time for doing that healing there. And, relationships still being emphasized for you. Your ruler is in the 7th house, retrograde too, so a lot of you are reconsidering or rethinking some relationship-related stuff. But it is still a great time to expand on that level, continuing to make new relationships and cultivate existing ones. And just learning in the process can be great. All right, now looking at the financial side, you got a new moon in your 2nd house here this week. So from Wednesday onward, if there's any new intentions you do want to set involving finances, involving your resources, investments, or things like that, could be a long-term energy being cultivated here for you. But yeah, just see where things are going, be flexible in the process, and I think you'll find that there's this new sense of self-worth arising from all this, new sense of self-reliance, and cultivating those values in terms of what you can do because you're focused on it. You're going to have the sun in the 2nd house. And as we go through this lunar cycle, there'll just be more and more momentum here to pursue those things you value in life. Now, in terms of the work sector, this is seen by that North Node in your 6th house. It's a great year, as it was last year, to learn more about your work, your craft, your skills, your routine. Being open to change with your career. That's been an emphasis for the past many years with Pluto transiting your 10th house. So the more non-attached you are with career-related stuff, it'll help that energy flow. But the sun that rules your routine, when we do have a new moon, there is always this sort of new beginning here with your routine and your work. And I think it is directly related to this new financial new beginning. So yes, with this, these new seeds being planted around the financial sector could certainly be in some way related to new beginnings with your work in some sense, whether it's through your work, with your work, stuff like that. Now, regarding relationships, yes, Jupiter, your ruler in the 7th, very much being emphasized. But Mercury, who does rule your relationships, is retrograde in your 1st house, also emphasizing that. But I think emphasizing the rethinking side of this, reconsidering. And trying new things, learning, just like that Jupiter retrograde in the 7th. So flexibility, adaptability, trying new things. And on Friday, maybe something new and different, unexpected, exciting perhaps, with relationships. And I think the more open you are to freedom in relationships, but the more open you are to freedom of change and excitement and spontaneity, I think can make the days around Friday quite exciting. And just be kind of, again, open to things changing and information coming to light because that's the retrograde Mercury. But next week, Mercury is going to go direct and then pass back over Uranus. And I think a lot of what you may be learning right now about spontaneity and freedom or whatever it is will start to move forward around the corner. All right, so Pisces, that's the week in a nutshell. The way I would sum this up is, yes, you do have a lot of first house emphasis. You're doing some healing here, which you have been since late December already, but a new chapter with that this later part of the week, rejuvenating you, healing you there. It's a great time to be connecting to your self-image right now, you know, sprucing up the self-image, either whether it's the salon or, you know, getting, clothing shopping or whatever it is. With Venus in the first house, feeling good, looking good could be emphasized. And relationships being emphasized as they have been, but here particularly about learning about them or, you know, shifting your perspective about them. And I think this week around Friday, probably particularly about the importance of new and different, you know, just having an openness to have change in relationships in a way it's non-attached, it's just more spontaneous, and there's more freedom there. And of course, the new beginning in your second house of finances does suggest seeds are being planted, most fundamentally with your sense of self-worth, but that could certainly translate into more of the external resources as we go through these coming weeks and months. All right, so Pisces, have a fantastic week. If you did find this video helpful, be sure to like, comment, and share it with your friends. But thank you for watching. Thank you for all of your support, and I will see you all next week. Take care.